The legendary city of Troy is said to have stood right here where the Turkish and Greek armies fought over 1,000 years ago. But what was life like inside the walls of Troy? Well, we went inside to find out. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're exploring the ruins of ancient Troy in Turkey. If you love all things history and archaeology, then be sure to subscribe for new weekly episodes every Tuesday. Troy is one of the most famous cities of the ancient world, and it has captured the imagination of storytellers for thousands of years. Most famously, the epic poem The Iliad by Homer tells the story of the Trojan War, which is set here in the late Bronze Age around 1200 BC, according to the legend. The beautiful Queen Helen of Sparta was abducted by the Trojan prince Paris and taken back to his city of Troy. The enraged Greeks then assembled an army and sailed to the coast of Turkey to lay siege to the city. The conflict that followed became known as the Trojan War, and it is said to have lasted for 10 long years. The two opposing armies were led by the most famous heroes of the ancient Greek world, including Achilles, Hector, Ajax, and Odysseus on the Greek side, and Hector, Paris, Aeneas, and Sarpedon for the Trojans. The war was one of the most brutal and bloody conflicts of the ancient world, with entire armies wiped out by plagues, typhoons, and natural disasters. But it was the cunning of the Greeks that finally brought about the downfall of Troy. According to the legend, the Greeks constructed a massive wooden horse as a gift to the gods of Troy and left it outside the city walls. The Trojans, believing it to be a sign of goodwill, brought the horse inside their city, where it is said to have remained for 9 long days. On the night of the 10th day, however, Greek soldiers emerged from the belly of the horse and opened the city gates for the rest of the Greek army, who then stormed the city and killed or enslaved almost everyone inside. Only a handful of survivors escaped, including King Priam, Queen Hecuba, and their son Aeneas. And so, the mighty city of Troy was brought to its knees after a war that had lasted for 10 long years. Archaeologists first uncovered the ruins of this ancient city in the 19th century, but excavations have been ongoing ever since. And today, we can explore the remains of Troy's massive city walls, which once protected the city from invaders. The walls are still standing in some places, and in others, they have crumbled into a jumble of rocks and dirt, but you can still get a sense of just how formidable they were in their heyday. In fact, these walls are thought to be the oldest man-made structures in all of Europe. They were built by the early inhabitants of Troy, sometime before 3000 BC, and they continued to be used for over 2,000 years. That means that they were still standing when the Trojan War supposedly took place. The walls were made of huge stones that were carefully fitted together without the use of mortar, and they were so strong that even the great armies of Alexander the Great were unable to break them down. But Troy wasn't just about its impressive fortifications. It was also a thriving commercial center. In the Bronze Age, Troy was located at the crossroads of 2 important trade routes, making it a hub for merchants from all over the known world. The city's economy was based primarily on agriculture, but there was also a significant amount of trade in textiles, metalwork, and pottery. In fact, the famous Trojan horse is said to have been crafted by the skilled artisans of Troy. But perhaps the most important thing about Troy was its people. The Trojans were a fierce and warlike people, but they were also known for their hospitality and their respect for strangers. This is reflected in the many stories from Greek mythology that take place in Troy, such as the story of Odysseus and his men, who were shipwrecked on the coast of Troy and welcomed by King Priam. Today, we can still find evidence of these ancient traditions in the ruins of Troy. The city's agora, or marketplace, is one of the best preserved areas of the site, and visitors can still explore the foundations of the shops and stalls that once lined its streets. There are also the remains of a temple dedicated to Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare, as well as a smaller shrine that may have been used for divination. The most impressive structure in Troy is the massive altar that was built in the center of the city. It was here that the most important religious ceremonies were held, and it is said that the altar was so large that it could accommodate 2,000 worshippers at once. Sadly, much of Troy's history is shrouded in myth and legend, and it can be difficult to separate fact from fiction. However, one thing is certain: the ancient city of Troy was one of the most important and influential settlements of the ancient world. Its strategic location at the crossroads of two continents made it a hub for trade and cultural exchange, and its powerful kings and queens exerted control over much of the Aegean Sea. Whether you believe the legends or not, there's no denying that Troy was an important part of the ancient world, and its ruins are a reminder of the rich history that shaped our modern world. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up, as it really helps support the channel. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss an exciting episode. And I'll see you next time.